Hello and welcome to the latest MK Web, MK Dons Sports Podcast with myself, Dan Palmer and Scott Kirk. How's it going, mate?
Very well. How are you?
Yeah, very good. We've got an exciting episode this week. It's very exciting at the Dons, isn't it? We're only 3 points off the playoff spots, and the team who occupied the last playoff place, Peterborough, they're coming to stadiummk tomorrow. It's a crunch game, isn't it? A great time of the season.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. When we did this last week, I would never have thought we'd have been in this position.
No.
Going into this Peterborough game now, and it's been a sensational week for Dons to get in that position, and now, I mean, it's a big game all the time, but it's just for this to have been thrown up now. 3 points behind Peterborough, going into the game against Peterborough. You can forget the fact they've got a game in hand, I think. They've got to win that game in hand. Excuse me. So, it's just brilliant, and, it's one of those occasions where, it's going to be an occasion on Saturday, and, just massively looking forward to it now, and, let's see what happens. It's going to be brilliant.
Obviously, the past week, victories over Swindon and Notts County, and Peterborough significantly dropping points on Tuesday nights against Bristol City to set up this situation, if you like. And I think Dons owe Peterborough one, really, don't they? Posh won the league game at London Road despite having 2 players sent off, and one of the sendings off was very early in the game, wasn't it? So they played most of that with 10 men, and then obviously 2-3 years ago now the playoffs, the controversy in the first leg surrounding Stephen Gleeson's sending off and the penalty awarded to Posh, which made it 3-2 to Dons in that game when it looked like Dons could go on and win that leg 4-1, 5-1 and get through to the final. So, but I think Saturday maybe, is Peterborough going to be going into that game under pressure?
Yeah.
You need to know how their players are going to respond. Darren Ferguson, their manager, I noticed a few choice words about his squad in local media in Peterborough this week. And on the flip side, you'd think Dons are going to be going into this match full of confidence after 2 massive wins. So, it's all very, very nicely poised, isn't it?
Oh, they've kind of gone totally under the radar as well now, Dons. They were under the radar last week. You think back to last week and Swindon and Walsall to get past yet, when we were talking at this point last week. So they're really under the radar, and all of a sudden, 3 points off, it's all to play for now. So I think the pressure is totally on Peterborough now. Dons, I don't think we're ever really expecting to get into the playoffs now. So we're kind of enjoying where we are. I don't think we've been 7th in the table for a very long time. So we're enjoying where we are in the table. No pressure on us really. Peterborough have been in the playoffs pretty much all season, and the pressure is massively on them now. So let's just see what happens. But this is why I think there's a lot of enthusiasm and positivity going into this game. And if it was the other way around and Dons had been on a losing run, Peterborough are coming up on the on the blind side sort of thing as Dons have done, it's a very different atmosphere, isn't it? But I'm really excited, and I really think. I'm usually wrong, so about how Dons will do. I think I'm really not confident, but I think could do. And Dons are due a win. As you've said there against Peterborough, Peterborough by all accounts defended absolutely fantastically in that first game, down to 9 men and to still hold on. Whether that was a lack of creativity by Dons or superb defending by Peterborough, it's one of those, isn't it? But it could have been a mixture of both. But it's fantastic that Dons are even in this position. Again, Saturday's just going to be a real occasion. It's going to be one of those games you just want to be involved in and want to play in and want to watch and want to report on, and it's just going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure Peterborough are going to be backed by a good following. There's a lot to be said for momentum at this time of the season, to be the team that's coming up on the sly almost unnoticed. And sometimes that's better than being the team that's in the playoffs but hanging on, nervous, full of a few shaky performances. So it's going to be really interesting. It's good to see a little gap between Dons in 7th and Walsall in 8th. That's now 4 points as well.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of daylight there between the other teams who are trying to maybe sneak into the playoff spots. Even though Sheffield United have a few games in hand and they're coming up, like a train at the moment. It could still crash the party, but there's a lot of positive signs.
Yeah, it's nice to have that little bit of cushion as well. So that I mean, it really is a Peterborough slip up. There's only really Dons that can take advantage at this moment in time. So it's but got to be careful with Sheffield United because they're 9 wins in a row, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I think if they win all their games in hand, they'll go above Dons, regardless of what they do. Can't worry about that. But I mean, you've got to let that happen. I mean, they've won 9 in a row, so that run's got to come to an end at some point. Hopefully that won't go on to 15 in a row or whatever, but that would be absolutely unreal. But it's a massive opportunity for Dons this weekend, and some good team news in that Ben Reeves is back, which is fantastic news. Alan Smith's been really impressive in these last 2 games. And he's kind of earned his place in the starting lineup, really. But so there's a bit of a selection headache there, I think, for Carl Robinson. It's you can't leave Dele Alli out of the team and the way he's played. Hat-trick on Tuesday night. Stephen Gleeson won't be dropped, I don't think, as long as he's playing for MK Dons. And then you've got Ben Reeves who has to be in that number 10 role. So it's looking really good in that sort of midfield area as well. That there's 4 players there who are doing really well at the moment. So so it's going to be interesting. I think Smith probably will drop to the bench, but he's kind of harsh on him if he does because he's done really well the last couple of games. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I think we're all surprised that we're not talking about mid-table obscurity again, isn't it? Really, just to maybe dampen the enthusiasm a little bit. The run-in is very tough, isn't it? 5 of the current top 6 still to play, and the other games are away to Coventry, which will be at Northampton.
Port Vale away as well.
Port Vale away, a good side. That'll be tricky on Good Friday. And you've got Stevenage away, who a little local derby, and they're in good form at the moment, fighting for their lives at the bottom of the table. So
they've just got out.
Doesn't look much tougher, does it?
They've just got out of the relegations though as well. So Graham Wesley's it's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's done pretty well there, and to get Stevenage out of that relegation zone. Even if it's just for a game, is a massive achievement because they were looking very detached at the bottom of the table at one point to me. I think a few months ago that was now, but fair play to them. And it's weird how sometimes you play teams at the perfect time. This could be playing Peterborough right now. Could be the opportunity to play at the perfect time. We've played Notts County, I think, at the perfect time because they're struggling. But then you play some teams at totally the wrong time, which we found with Sheffield United when they obviously beat Dons. And you look at Stevenage now, and is this the wrong time to be playing Stevenage, a week on Saturday? Because they're just sort of on a decent little run of form, which is hard when you're right down there as well. So that's going to be interesting. But let's get past Peterborough first and beat them. That's just fantastic. When Dons fans will not stop looking at the league table if we can get past them on Saturday.
Absolutely. Should we have a look at the 2 games that have just gone? You talk about big moments in seasons, don't you? Even like years into the future, and if Dons do make the playoffs, George Baldock's winner, a Swindon last gasp, superb left-footed strike. To win that game 2-1, 2 extra points against a team who were above them at the time. What a moment for Dons. That we talked about for a while.
Well, if Dons, and this is a capital if Dons get promoted this season, that is the turning point right there. I mean, last minute looking like it's going to be a draw, and then it's his left foot as well, which is even more impressive. And if that's not an indictment for working hard and training, working on your wrong foot, if you like, and then I don't know what it is, because he's cut inside, left foot, smashed it in, and went absolutely wild. All the Dons fans, rightly so. It was such a massive win that I mean, if they'd have drawn that, they would have still been behind Swindon. After Saturday, obviously, Walsall drew, I think, so Dons would have stayed in 9th, I think, if that had been a draw. And then
I think Walsall were beaten by Wolves, weren't they? So.
I'm just thinking. I think Walsall were a point ahead of Dons, but I'm not sure how the goal difference would have worked. So, 8th or 9th, something like that, and then the table looks totally different going into the Notts County game.
Yeah.
And then that's the sort of game where you're thinking, all right, well, maybe they might struggle against Notts County because but when they're in 7th, you win and you're going to catch up. If you win, and you could be within 3 points, as what happened against Notts County. Then that was great, but. They did really well at Swindon, and it's not a happy hunting ground, Swindon, I don't think, for Dons as well.
No.
So to go there and get a last-minute winner like that, but the confidence that can breed as well, you've won in the last minute when you would think, Dons deserve to win that, don't get me wrong, and Dean Bowditch missed a sitter one-on-one 5 minutes just before that, so you're thinking, oh God, it's not going to happen here. But then that happens, and it's such a buzz. You've got such a buzz then that it can kickstart your season. That's the moment. If Dons get promoted, that is the moment.
Absolutely, and then fast forward 3 days, and like the London buses, we've been waiting a long time for a midweek away win. Got one at Oldham. We've now had 2 in a row, albeit against the bottom club, Notts County, but fine 3-1 win, and that one's all about 17-year-old sensation, Dele Alli with a Football League hat-trick before he's even reached adulthood. We're running out of words to describe him, aren't we?
Yeah, it's just... the goals were... I'm just thinking back to each goal. They're not sort of vintages, let's be honest. He sort of poked one in for the first goal. The third goal sort of... the second one, Powell has just laid it off and Ali couldn't miss. Empty net. And the third goal is a shot, and the defenders sort of deflected it in as well. But that's not taking anything away from Dele Alli at all.
No.
He is, as you said, he can do everything though. This is the problem. On Saturday it was sort of with Stephen Gleeson missing. It was orchestrating the play. It was tackling. It was even the last man on occasion when to avoid the counter attack from Swindon. Tuesday night Gleeson's back, but Ben Reeves is missing. So he's in that more advanced role, and he bags a hat. He can do it all. He can shoot, he can score, he can defend, he can tackle. And it's just unreal. And we spoke to him for the first time as well on Tuesday night, and it's amazing how big he is. He's 17 years old and he's 6'2". So he's not even finished growing and filling out yet. That's once he finishes growing. You can imagine him, to me, being like a Yaya Toure. I really think he could be that sort of marauding midfielder who can do it all, defend, who can score goals. You ask him to do the job, he will be brilliant. I really think he could. I think Carl Robinson's likened him to with Stephen Gerrard and Michael Owen. They were doing interviews at 17. I see him as almost like a Toure, can just pick the team up by himself almost. And at 17. We always talk about his age, but it's hard not to really. It could be, if he can keep going as he is, he could be an England captain or all sorts. But I'm probably getting carried away. And probably got the rose-tinted glasses on or whatever. But if he can carry on like he is, he is a different class.
We get you get a lot of talented young players, and they they don't develop, they don't fill out physically.
That could happen. You never know.
But there's no problem with Ali because he's already over 6 foot, as you said. So it's kind of like that's not going to be a problem. He's
not going to get any shorter than 6 foot now, is he?
That's right. Yeah. You'd hope not, anyway. Interestingly, Carl Robinson saying this morning that he's told Pete that he's not for sale, but when a 17-year-old kid scores a hat trick, then there's already Premier League clubs circling around him. This is only going to put him even further towards the front of the shop window, if you like.
Tell you what, though, it will take a lot of money for him to go now.
It's going to become a big checkbook.
Oh, yeah. If a club comes along with £8 million or something along those lines, it's going to be hard to say no, because you get millions and millions at this level. You can buy 4 or 5 good players with that, and then you can really, you know what I mean. So it'd be interesting to see with that one. But then Carl's a point in that you've got to keep your best players to get promoted, and there's no doubt that Dell is one of them at the moment. So
I think 5 million was a figure that was sort of heard in corridors of the club. A few months ago, but he's got better and better since then, hasn't he? So maybe a couple of zeros added on for the
well, as I say,
to the figure.
I just think the different, he's proved on Saturday and Tuesday. He's played in 2 very different roles there, and he's been superb in both. So he's very mature for his age as well, which is I think he's had some good people to learn from, because I think at his age as well, he's had there's George Baldock and Patrick Bamford, who he's learned from this season, who are very young and very good with the media as well. You know, that can, you know, speak their minds, and I think Dallas learned a lot from them as well. And you know, obviously he's going to learn from like Dean Lewington and Alan Smith and Darren Potter and players like that. But he's very mature as well, which is good. You can't see many signs of him a bit, you know, being carried away with his success or anything like that.
You know?
Hopefully, you know, if we can keep his feet on the ground, you know, the future is just anything for him. So.
Yeah, we've already, just moving on, we've already discussed George Baldock's goal, and his brother Sam, a bit of a Dons legend, still scoring important goals for MK Dons, despite being at another club. But it was him, he got both goals for Bristol City as they beat Peterborough midweek for a 2-1 win. It's strange how things work out, isn't it?
If you're a Peterborough fan, you will hate Sam Baldock. Obviously, he was going to sign for them, wasn't he? And then
he was, yes.
You know, I think we saw him. I think there was a few tweets from posh fans being less than kind, shall we say, to Sam Baldock, and you can't really blame them, because it's just Sam Baldock has just really put them in a bit of a hole now. I mean, even going to this game, if Dons are 6 points behind or 4 points behind, then you know there's a little cushion there, isn't there? You know, but. Bristol City have done really well to hold on. I think they had 10 men.
10 men for a long time, yeah.
So, you know, for them to hold on, it shows that, you know, it's sort of, I wonder if the league table can sometimes lie. You know, it's, I mean, Bristol City have drawn too many games out of it this season, but, you know, I'd have been surprised if they'd got relegated, and they're sort of pulling away from that now. With someone like Sam Baldock up front, you know, they shouldn't be getting relegated, should they? But, it's great favour for Dons, and, you know, just wish he could play for Dons, really.
Yeah, Sam Baldock can play. I'm sure at some point in the future we'll be back at Stadium MK. I fully believe it.
I mean, if Dons are going to get promoted this season, then again, that's a big if. You wonder if they can just tear him a little bit away from that, if you really do. So it will be like, again, I can't help but let myself get a bit carried away. If Dons can get promoted, you know, especially this season when they've not spent any money on, you know, not that they've spent any money on for the last few years, but you know what I mean, like they've not really looked like getting promoted at any point this season, and you know, if it happens this season, it'll be just sort of typical, really.
And another bit of info from the press conference this morning. Carl hoping to bring in a couple of new players, perhaps, and he used the words high profile, I believe. So. Well, that's interesting.
It's saying that they're looking in all the leagues for the teams that aren't involved in any relegation or promotion scraps. So, you know, obviously the teams that don't really have much to play for, and that is including the Premier League. It says there's money to spend, if needs be, to get that lone player in. So yeah, and I mean, now it could be the time that they get promoted. You know, I mean, we don't know in 12 months' time where Dons are going to be. So why not? You know, we're in the here and now. Dons have got every chance of getting promoted. Let's go for it. And you know, I think that's the mentality he's got, and rightly so. You know, he's not spent any. I don't think he's ever spent any money. So, you know, I think. I mean, for Dons to be in the position they are in right now is part of it, I think, down to luck. But it's incredible that they're even there, to be honest. So, but we are there. Let's try and do it from here now, because. You know, there's every chance of winning against Peterborough in particular, and I mean it's a 2-horse race then, I think, for that sixth spot, and whoever gets that sixth spot out of those two teams then is going to have a massive bit of momentum going into the playoffs, and then playing a team in third who is going to be left disappointed, because that's been a three-way battle all season. Preston might be able to crash that, but you know, if Dons could squeeze into sixth, you're looking at whoever finishes third, they're going to be gutted.
I will always feel the team who does finish third, especially if they're in with a shout for automatic promotion until the end of the season, until the last couple of weeks, to pick yourself up for the playoffs. Is very difficult psychologically, especially when you're playing. The first leg will be away at a team who'll be absolutely buzzing to have just snuck in or just claim their last place.
And then if you're 2 or 3 goals behind by the first leg, the pressure is ridiculous.
Even though you're at home, second leg, it's not an advantage anymore, is it?
Well, it's the pressure, isn't it? Because you're third place, so you should be beating the team in 6th place anyway. You should be beating them because you're at home anyway. pressure just builds and builds, doesn't it? So it's, you know, I think that 6th place is
there's only one spot left, isn't there? The top 5 are
there's
assured playoffs at least.
I recall one season, I can't remember, I think it was in League One, when I think it was Scunthorpe and Tranmere fighting for, or it might have been in League Two, I forget now, but Scunthorpe and Tranmere were fighting all season for the final playoff spot. Scunthorpe got it, and then they went up as well.
And Scunthorpe, obviously, they beat Dons in a League Two semi once, when Dons were 3rd, and they had the top playoff spot, if you like. So,
I mean, that might be the season I'm thinking of.
No, they did play Tranmere as well, on the last day. They played them in the league on the last day.
I remember that. And I mean, you know, that was like a little playoff before the playoffs, and then they went up, so, you know, Dons could find themselves in that situation this season, and I hope they do, because, you know, we'd all love to be following a championship side next season.
And in terms of trying to get players to come down here, it's a better bargaining chip in your hand, isn't it? If you can show them the table and say, look, we're right in the playoff hunt here, rather than, we're 10th and, you know, we're probably out of the running.
So I'm hoping 9 points off. Well, we're going to try and, you know, but we're not really sure, because it depends how the teams above us do it. Now it's in our hands now. Starting on Saturday. I mean, even a draw or a defeat's looking not too good, but even a draw, I think, is not the worst result in the world. You know, especially there's still about 9 games left after this. There's a lot that can happen.
I can't see Peterborough going on a sustained run of wins. I think they're going to drop points.
I totally agree.
Every now and then, so you know the door's open for Dons to pounce.
And it'd be interesting to actually see what Peterborough's running is like. You know, I've not actually seen it. I know Dons have a difficult running, but Dons are the sort of side that will do well against the bigger teams anyway. You know, you give them alright, they're beating Oldham and Notts County, but you look at the teams they've lost to this season. Carlisle have done the double over them, Tranmere have done the double over them, Crewe have beat them. It's, you know, there was a draw against Colchester as well. You know, they're the sort of games that Dons will maybe slip up with. And look at the win at Molineux, look at the win at Walsall, you know. So,
exciting times.
It's really exciting, It's really exciting, and it's hard not to keep talking about it.
It really is. You know, look. Anyone going to the game on Saturday, have a good time. It's
I'm sure they will.
Historic game potentially for Milton Keynes Dons. We'll be back next week to chat about what happens. Thanks very much for listening. Cheers. See you later.
Thank you.